you don't have to be the owner to have leadership.
Correct.
Right? Any position that you play, depending on how you set yourself up, whether you are running a small team or you're just, on your own doing your work, right? There's always some kind of leadership you can give.
So like manager, you're just directing what the operators are doing, right? And the operators are just doing the same task for the most part. It's just, follow what you're supposed to do. Leadership, you have to get the managers or whoever it is you're leading to see beyond their task and how that task impacts them.
When it comes to quiet leadership, I think three traits are quite important. Consistency over hype. So what does that mean? That means that showing up every day, no matter what, being the same person that people know that they can count on. Like when you have, because leadership is about people looking up to you, people following your lead, right? And the one thing that people need is they need that assurance that you're going to always show up and deliver no matter what.
That's
But
right.
my question
What's going on, beautiful people? Welcome to another episode of Beyond the Grind.
BTG.
Hey, if this is your first time tuning in, welcome. And please don't forget to hit the subscribe button so that you don't miss out on any of our future content. Our podcast is about business and lifestyle. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. My name is Kay.
I'm Alan.
And I'm Tosin.
Hey, I got to tell y'all something real quick. Today, actually, it was yesterday, I was watching a documentary about Tim Duncan, right? You guys know who Tim Duncan is, right?
No, who is that?
Tim Duncan.
Oh, yeah. Actually, no. But for those that don't know.
For those that don't know, Tim Duncan is a professional or ex-professional basketball player who won 5 NBA championship
with the Spurs.
With the Spurs, right? And he's also a Hall of Famer, right?
San Antonio Spurs.
So I was watching it and I was looking at everything that this guy did, right? This guy was just chill. He was laid back, but yet he has so much impact.
Yeah.
And funny thing is, right after the documentary, they had a documentary about Apple, specifically Tim Cook. Same thing.
The Tims.
the Tims, right?
Tims.
And in this documentary, it talked about how, Apple, and when they were worth, when Tim Cook took over, they were just worth billions. Yeah. But now Apple is worth like what, $2 to $3 trillion? Mm-hmm. Same thing. He's not like a Steve Jobs, where like Steve Jobs was like out there, like in your face, where Tim Cook is like chill, laid back. And it got me thinking, most people look at leadership as being in your face, being out there. Everybody needs to know. Exactly.
Charismatic.
But it doesn't necessarily have to be like that, right? Obviously do what works for you. But it got me thinking about quiet leadership. And I want to ask you guys, how would you define quiet leadership?
Firstly, I don't know who the stylist for the Apple CEOs the last 30 years, but it seems to be the same person. I don't know if he's getting paid well, but if you guys are looking for a stylist,
and you want the same,
I just want to say that the ceilings doesn't look pretty high.
Lord.
I think all of them are like that. Even Mark Zuckerberg, they all like
turtlenecks.
There's a playbook.
We're turtlenecks in 2025. I mean, anyway, but I digress. No, Tosa, I'm gonna let you take this one.
Oh, really?
Tosin, how would you describe quiet leadership?
I'd describe quiet leadership as that person that it's almost like they put their head down and get the job done, right? They have a way of making an impact to those around them. And it's not like it's too far reaching. You've got to be close to feel it, right? So it's going to be somebody who is possibly really good at their job, maybe an expert, right? Kind of, we talk about that inch wide, mile deep type of expert. They know what they're talking about and they can influence those around them.
Yeah.
I think that you're right on that. But on a serious note, aside from what I said earlier, I think it's more so like you're leading, you're getting things done, but you're not necessarily seeking the notoriety or recognition. You may be charismatic, but you reserve your charisma for when the business needs it. So, you know, a lot of the tech giants, by default, they may technically be quiet leaders because they're only in the face of the media because they're fame. They're one of the top companies. So you by default, because the media always pushes them in our face, we know them. But I don't know if we lived in a different age where we didn't have media push them in our face, if they would choose to be the face in the limelight. A lot of the tech people, because they're actually very conservative and very quiet. We don't know anything about them except for like nothing about their personal
stuff, the products and
exactly
like
the products, the media, and them announcing whatever day that they have to release products. But we don't know much about them versus, you know, like I guess the opposite of a quiet leader will be a more outwardly noticed leadership,
like a Ray Lewis,
Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Even though, you know, like every second of the day he's tweeting,
Saying
right?
something.
You know, so that's probably why him and Trump were homies for a minute, but because they love Twitter.
So I Googled what quiet leadership is, right? And it says that quiet leadership is the ability to influence, inspire, and drive results without needing a title, spotlight, or loud voice. If you think about it, when Tim Duncan first came in the league, it was Robinson who was another
Quiet leader,
another quiet leader, right?
Yeah.
It was Robinson that was
David
the man
Robinson.
David Robinson that was
Not
the
Nate.
man at the time, and then Tim Duncan came in, right?
Yeah.
And Tim Duncan kind of worked his way up to the leadership position, right? When Tim Cook came in, because I think Tim Cook came from IBM, but I'm not sure. So, but if y'all can drop in the comment section where he came from, I would appreciate that. But nobody knew about Tim Cook. They just knew Tim Cook as the supply chain guy, right? And he rose up, right, through the ranks and became a CEO. I think the point that I'm going here is that a lot of times people feel like they can influence or impact change only if they have a specific title or if they are in a position to make changes.
That's right.
But the reality is there are other methods that you can adopt to be able to do that. What are your thoughts?
I would say I agree with that. Even like in a small business scenario, right? You don't have to be the owner to have leadership.
Correct.
Right? Any position that you play, depending on how you set yourself up, whether you are running a small team or you're just, you know, on your own doing your work, right? There's always some kind of leadership you can give, even to be like a what would I call it? Almost like a leader similar to the owner, right? Having that same impact, but you're doing it internally.
Right.
I can give you guys an example of one of my managers. You know, she's always going above and beyond, right? Whenever there are problems and issues going on, it's how can I fix it, right? It doesn't have to be Toastin that fixes it all the time.
Yep.
I'll go in there, I'll knock it out, and I'll move on. Doesn't even have to get to the owner's desk, right? There's that quiet leadership. And over time, what has now happened is that everybody's going there now.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, hey.
They don't even bother you. They're
No. Right. You just take on that role.
you
You
have like
take
two-
on that
two,
little.
three people,
and,
right?
and when we're talking about quiet leadership, it doesn't mean you have to take over a big thing.
Yeah.
Right. It's just people now assign it to you
Right.
as long as you're doing the thing properly.
I think, you know, and me as an individual or as a leader, it might come as a shock to most people, but I'm actually would prefer the quiet leadership type. I think because I'm a private person, I don't like to take the credit for everything when it comes to anything I do, because I don't want, I guess I want to seek people and choose my interactions. But when it comes to business and anything, I'm only going to leadership if I feel like things aren't getting done and I know I can get it done. But it's not necessarily to seek or have any other notoriety or anything. I'm not saying that that's what everyone seeks, but I'd rather be quiet because I don't know. a little bit of you, you get assigned to blame too, if you're being honest. So
one thing that we're talking about is that you don't need that title to take over whatever dysfunction
but
that
you get
see
promoted to that. And I think that's
like
the
what we have allocated.
exactly. So I think the issue is that like some people want the title and want the leadership and all that stuff.
They want the glory.
I just
They
want
the
the
spotlight.
things to get done.
Yes.
But then what ends up happening is by default, they start looking for you and you start becoming, you are now our leader.
That's what happened by example, right?
Lead us. And you're like, whoa, no.
Like, no. I just came in here and wanted to.
You get it done the best.
But that's okay though, because people, you're essentially playing the do as I do, not as I say.
Yeah.
Right.
Because now you're taking that leadership status without having to say, I'm the leader.
Right.
You need to follow me.
Right. But, at the end of the day, though, when you are in a quiet leadership and you're taking on a lot of responsibility and leadership or management, whoever's above you or whatever, doesn't notice, you need to bring it to the attention.
Oh, yeah,
you should
definitely.
be compensated for that additional role.
And that's part of the one of the previous episodes that we had about, right?
Mm-hmm.
About whether, you can describe properly your value versus your worth to that business.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you are taking on more responsibility, definitely say it out loud.
Right.
All right.
So speaking of, quiet leadership, we all know that at least we've been able to all agree that leadership, quiet leadership is about being able to lead without necessarily having a title behind it, right?
Yeah.
There are so many different types of leaders, but specifically with quiet leadership, what would you guys say are like traits that, all quiet leaders have in common?
I would probably say they just have the mindset of getting things done.
Getting things done. Yeah.
I agree with this.
Because I got 3 in my mind, but I wanted to see where you guys are going first.
I think that they're getting things done and they don't seek recognition. Like which can also be a flaw, right? A bad thing. You need that you should be celebrated, right? And they should acknowledge you. That is a flaw. Like
You may undervalue
yourself because it's just you feel like this is a necessity. And if I can do it, why not?
I disagree with you because it depends on the role and the position in which you're playing, right? If you're coming in from an underdog perspective, right? Maybe from the little guy, yes, it's okay. You probably want that visibility because it's going to ultimately help you in the long run, right? But
acknowledgement. Let me rephrase that. More acknowledgement than seeking what's the word I just used?
But if you're because when I'll give you an example. I remember, when I was with most companies, the COO is typically the quiet leader, right? Because the CEO is the one out there,
the face,
the face spilling everything, right? If you go on my LinkedIn, and I'm not saying this to boast, but it wasn't until Zazu went down that I started to realize the impact that I had on people, right?
Yeah.
And when it comes to quiet leadership, I think three traits are quite important. Consistency over hype. So what does that mean? That means that showing up every day, no matter what, being the same person and people know that they can count on. Like when you because leadership is about people looking up to you, people following your lead, right? Yeah. And the one thing that people need is they need that assurance that you're going to always show up and deliver no matter what.
That's
but
right.
My question is, I agree. Is that specific to quiet leadership or just leadership though?
No, these traits?
Good question.
Would not necessarily.
I'm asking. I'm not.
No, it's not.
Okay, yeah.
It's not, because whether you are a in your face type of leader or a quiet leader, a leadership still requires consistency, right?
Okay. So
but I'm just speaking about my own personal experience in terms of, the traits that people have talked about, right? Number 2, humility over anything. So a lot of times when things are happening or we've been able to accomplish something, I take the glory away from me. I'm saying it's about the mission and it's about the team. Without, Alan, without Tosin, we wouldn't be able to accomplish this thing.
Right.
From a psyche perspective, that does something to people because it makes people to feel like, you know what? this guy is a we guy and not an I guy.
Yeah.
You know, because a lot of times if you're looking at some folks like, yeah, it's because of me, that's why we did it. That's why we did it.
Yeah, no.
So it might rub some people the wrong way, and then it might impact your ability to lead certain folks because they feel like, yo, you only care about yourself. Right. And then emotional stability is what I would say is the last one. And the reason why I say that is because when there's chaos, when there is panic, right, your ability to be relaxed and have control over your decisions is so important, especially as a leader. Think about it. In your household, you know, let's say something happened, something chaotic, your kids are going crazy or your wife or whatever, right? One of the things that people are going to be looking up to you for is when things are not going well, how are you able to position yourself to reassure the team that everything is going to be okay, right? Now, these might not necessarily be directed to being a quiet leader, but for me, in my experience, those are the three traits that I feel like are quite important.
So I got this question for you guys. What happens when you're in a room full of quiet leaders?
Somebody.
No,
I'm
is that a
serious.
good thing? Because
it happens where one person ends up being the like arising. It's like literally they did a thing on this. It's like the clownfish thing. The biggest one becomes the female or or like the leader in the group. So because the point is that you're three quiet leaders, right? If you're all three quiet, nothing's getting said, but you all three have the mentality that like, this needs to get done. So by default, someone will stand up and be the person who has to be, well, I don't like doing it, so I will be this person because it needs to be done. And the other two people will be okay with that because they're like, it needs to be done.
Yeah.
I guess you're doing it.
No, that thought came to my mind because of maybe like a startup space. I was just envisioning Kay and all his guys that started up.
So
Zazu,
that's what I was about to. I was about to touch on that.
Wait,
because
you know, like if everybody's. I mean,
no,
if especially
you gotta hire someone to be the.
Well, see, that's the thing. Naturally,
is that a bad thing?
Naturally,
you know?
I'm not a quiet. I'm not a quiet leader.
But he had to
right?
be.
But I had to be. I believe that a true leader has the ability to assess the room and determine what leadership style is required at that moment.
Yeah,
you can't just say, "I am a servant leader." And just be a stagnant. No, like, it doesn't work like that. Because when you speak to people, like for example, so I had compliance, HR, customer service report to me, right? The folks and marketing, the folks in marketing, they want empathy, right? They want you to motivate them, right? The folks in compliance, that stuff doesn't work for them. They need like in your face.
It's white or black.
Like,
you know,
you get what I'm saying? And where the folks in customer service, they want some reassurance like, hey guys, everything is going to be okay. Right. And you kind of learn this based on the conversation that you're having with folks. And you say, okay, I know that this person likes, because at the end of the day, the true impact of a leader is your ability to get the best out of folks.
Connect. Yes.
Out of folks. Because I would not be, think about it. It does not matter how much of how good a coach is. If you cannot get your team to win, you're trash. You're trash. You get what I'm saying?
I mean, it's true.
But I also think that like when you become a leader, you have to understand, like you said, so you're generally people confuse management with leadership, right?
Yes.
Because managing you have operator, manager,
you're just directing
all that. So like manager, you're just directing what the operators are doing, right? And the operators are just doing the same task for the most part. It's just, follow what you're supposed to do. Leadership, you have to get the managers or whoever it is you're leading to see beyond their task and how that task impacts them. And you have to hear their complaints and it kind of be the point of leadership is you're having a bigger birds or a higher 50 feet view or a bird's eye view of things, and you're bringing everybody to see this is what's going on. This is what it looks like from here. So I think that's the key difference, because a lot of people do think managing is the same as leadership.
Yeah, no,
I don't think I'm a great manager because I don't like being on people every day to manage their tasks. Versus there are people like my leadership style is not very managerial.
No.
It's leadership, right?
Yeah.
I like you. I'm like, okay, what can I do for you? How can I inspire you? How can I see where you want to go? How can I make you see here?
Yeah.
You know, but another thing, a good leadership, I think, is that finding good managers and good experts to be around you, advisors,
helps you be a better leader.
Exactly, because you see, I have something. You know, we talk about this, how it's like, man, I can give you some real good advice, but then when I go to mom, I'm like, what do I need to do? Which way do I need to go? Like, it's just like everything becomes a blurry because you're inside it.
Yeah.
So you can't see. So the same fault your managers have, where they can't see.
Yeah.
You can't see because you're in that ecosystem. It's just a bigger ecosystem.
Yeah.
So I think it's very good as a leader to know that, like, I cannot see. I need to go get perspective and advice to help me, people who can see from the outside looking in at my ecosystem and what is the break in it.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say.
So another question I would have then is it a good thing to be a quiet leader?
I think,
Like, what are the benefits of being that? I could just keep my head down and not volunteer to get whatever problem fix done. I can just
wait,
you know,
what?
just
Say that again?
No.
So I'm asking, like, what is the benefit of being a quiet leader? Because in an organization, that means I may have to step up to kind of do some things and then back off.
So I think because you're not known and your name might not be attached to everything, you get more opportunities to fail quietly. That would be the biggest benefit, I would say. If you're this person who everyone knows, everything you do is under a microscope. So
Okay,
you
that's
bump
a
your
good
head
one.
one time, you don't get that, you know, he messed up like 3 times. Let me redo it, fix it real quick. He messed up. He did that. You know, it's like everyone knows all your failures and all your successes, versus when you're a quiet leader, for the most part, not always, but you get more opportunities to do little missteps and correct it. That's
What
my
do you-
perspective.
What were you
So the
thinking?
question
Depending on
is,
scale.
what are the benefits of being a quiet leader,
Yeah.
right? I think when you're leading people, the one thing that's important for people is that they want to know that you care about them, number one, and they want to know that you don't feel like the work is bigger than you, right? People don't like do as I say. They like do as I do.
Yeah.
Don't tell me to do something and you go do something totally different, right? So being a quiet leader, it makes it easier for you to be able to gather people, because now they feel like they understand who you are, they know who you are, and they respect who you are. It's easier to capture respect and, you know, gather people as a quiet leader versus an in-your-face leader, right? Because I would say, because a quiet leader and servant leadership, they're kind of like hand to hand, because you know, you're kind of like doing the work in the back scene, but there is no agenda behind it, you know, and people kind of tend to notice, and then they see your heart posture and say, okay, you know what, this guy actually cares, so I'm more likely to listen. So the benefit is that you're more likely to win people over as a quiet leader versus if you decided not to. What's the opposite of a quiet leader?
Loud leader?
A loud, or, well, I guess
a visible leader.
a visible leader,
Yes.
right? You know,
A highly visible leader.
Is
know.
that the opposite though? Because most leadership roles that
Let
we
me
think
change
about,
it.
you
So-
have to be out
See,
there.
I would say
Right.
A leader seeking visibility.
Yes.
Because that's the
Right.
difference. Because you could be
Yes.
visible without seeking it versus
Yes.
Correct.
trying
Thank
to
you.
seek it.
Thank you for clarifying.
So that's, for me, I would say that's the benefit, you know, because for me, I've played both roles before, and I would say that it's easier for me to gather folks when I'm actually on the ground with you, doing the work with you, and I'm trying to like bring everybody together in
I
one
think it
unison.
seems more genuine too, because again, back to what I said, and you kind of said the same thing, which is that you have opportunity to just show what you can do. If you've been talking the talk this whole time,
And
you
now-
got to come through. If you're a leader who's seeking like an audience all the time.
Yeah.
That means you've already put the carrot before the horse, right? You haven't even gotten there and you're talking a good game. So when you fail, you're failing big. And everybody's like, this guy was just talking up. He's just full of it.
And check this out. Here's another thing that we haven't even talked about as in terms of the benefit of a quiet leader. Having that ownership mentality. Because when you are a quiet leader, let's say, for example, because remember we said that you can lead from any role without a title.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to be a VP, a CEO. You can be literally a customer associate, right? Or a specialist, right? You can see something wrong and determine that, you know what, that thing can be done better. And you can take the initiative to make it better. And guess what? Eventually, somebody's going to notice. They're going to be like, yo, because think about it. If people see that, if everybody's doing something this way, but it's not the right way, but you take the ownership and take the initiative to do it this way, and it's working,
and bring
everybody's going to, because everybody's going to be like, yo, it's working, and he's doing it or she's doing it, we're going to follow. You know, it's just like in sports. Like, I like to give sports because I love sports, right? My favorite team, football team, is the Baltimore Ravens. When Ray Lewis was playing, he wasn't good. Usually in sports team, especially football, the quarterback is usually the leader of the team.
But he was a loud leader.
But we had Joe Flacco, who says nothing. The guy was like, look, that's all that rah, that does nothing for me. I don't want. They was like, well, what type of leadership do you want to portray? He said, I just want to do my job and show people my work ethics.
Joe Flacco.
Yeah, Joe Flacco. He said, I just want to do my job and show my work ethics. He said, because when I show my work ethics and I'm here, first person in, last person out, people are going to see that and they're going to say, well, if the leader is the first one in and last person out, then I need to make sure that I'm doing what he's doing.
That's right.
You see how impactful that could be versus, hey, what time is it? It's game time. That doesn't necessarily work for everybody.
Doesn't resonate with everyone.
Doesn't resonate with everyone.
But you know, on the flip side, there are more boisterous leaders who still back it up, like Ray Lewis, right?
Yeah, he backed it up. That's why he's a Hall of Famer.
On the field, right? But they're like, he must not be motivated. He's just quiet. I don't think you're ready for this game because you ain't got a game face on. You ain't hyped up. I'm going to war. I need you to be like ready to kill something.
But it's all about the results.
But exactly. But if I'm a boisterous leader, I'm like, man, our quarterback is poo. He's not hyped up. Like, you know, like it might be a little bit of friction until they understand. Oh no, that dude's a stone cold killer.
Yeah.
Don't let him fool you because he's like quiet, you know?
For sure.
I think my perspective on quiet leadership is also it's a character trait because you're building yourself. You gave an example of if you see something wrong, instead of just like letting it be wrong, right? You're actually going out of your way to see if you can, you know, find a different solution and all that stuff. Yeah. You're actually building yourself up because yes, today you might be the quiet leader. But tomorrow, you don't know if you need to be that visible leader and you're just pushed to that role now because you solved one problem. Yeah. And that could also lead to maybe promotions, growth, or whatever it is, right? So I love the definition of quiet leadership where it's you're just leading people, leading tasks, leading your work at any role without a title, without the recognition, without that visibility that we're talking about.
Yeah.
So really, I want to challenge all of my quiet leaders out there. If you are a quiet leader out there, put something down in the comment section of give us some examples of what type of things you do to be that quiet leader at your business, at your job. And also, if you do like this episode and things that we've discussed in the past, please make sure to hit the like, subscribe, and share this podcast with everyone out there. Until the next time.
Where can they find us?
They can find us at GoBeyondTheGrind.com. Until next time, guys. Until next time.
Peace.
My goodness.